Craig, I've missed you.
I've missed him so much. He died last time. He didn't get
Craig better not mess this up this time. I
Craig-
swear.
Craig, there's a lot riding on this one, Craig.
Craig, if you fuck this up, you're fired. Anyway, hi, and welcome to Your Game May Vary, a podcast about pen and paper games and whatever else. Since last week's episode fell into the black hole from the end of Disney's 1979 sci-fi drama film, The Black Hole, today we'll be talking about Degenesis, a game that takes place 500 years after the post-cyberpocalypse. I'm a parasite inhabiting the body of Vux. My pronouns are she, they, and joining me today are introduce others.
Hi, I'm Marlon. My pronouns are he, him.
I'm Salty Rat. My pronouns are he, him.
Okay, so let's talk about Degenesis. I gave you guys the lore book only because we were going to talk mostly about that, but then I decided to just throw my whole ass into talking about the mechanics, which left all of you completely in the dark, right?
Yeah. But I mean, I like lore stuff, so that's okay.
Yeah, okay. I mean, you could talk about... We're definitely going to talk about the lore. I remember a lot of the lore. I also remember a lot of, like, the intended atmosphere of this game. Because I've been incredibly obsessed with running this game for a long time, but have never found the right group to run it with.
I think one of my favorite things. So interesting thing about Degenesis. Right, I'm throwing this out into the ether right now. There's a series of cinematic trailers for Degenesis.
Hell yeah, there are. They're really cool short movies.
I didn't see those.
Oh fuck! I should have showed you to them beforehand.
We will watch them after. We will watch them after because you deserve to see it. It's so cool.
Yes.
They are so cool. I'll link them in the description.
Good idea. Fantastic idea.
This game actually came out during the middle of the Bush presidency, like 2004, and that feels like a million years ago.
Yeah, right? It feels like multiple decades ago, and it's only about 1 decade ago.
Yeah, it feels as far in
half.
the past as this game takes place in the future.
Well,
Which
I mean, that
is-
was our post-cyberpocalypse. Now we're existing in the ruins left by the asteroid impacts.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That happens in a few months. Set your timers.
No, it actually happens in like 2075 in the book.
No, that's not bad. 2075 is a good year to have an apocalypse.
I'm excited for the year 2069.
Nice.
What about 2420?
Oh gosh, I hope I get immortal and I can live up to
Same.
2420.
Same,
Yeah.
I will literally never stop smoking ved.
2069, we wake up every day just going, nice. And then in 2420, we wake up every day just stoned off our butts.
2420, yeah.
I can't wait.
2420.
I can't wait.
2420 is finally the year that they legalize space weed.
Fuck, dude, space weed.
I like. Okay, so we need to take a quick moment. We've deviated very far away from what we were going on about.
This got away from us a little bit. We just started talking about space weed.
Okay, so 2075, things happen, right? Comet crash.
Alright, comet crashes.
Lure me up, baby.
I'm not luring you up yet. We're going mechanics first. You gotta eat your vegetables before you get the candy.
Ugh, damn it!
You're not even my real mom.
Come on, Mom.
No.
I'm calling
you gotta eat your
CPS.
vegetables.
All right, let's eat our vegetables. Do this.
Okay, fine.
They're really good vegetables. I steamed you up a nice broccoli.
I'm doing it because I want to, not because you told me to.
Okay. And you know what I did with that broccoli? Light dusting of like melted butter and like a little bit of salt and pepper. It's delicious. Not greasy, not heavy, but just like steamed perfectly, and there's butter on it. Anyway, the Genesis is a D6 dice pool system like Shadowrun. Did you know that?
Oh.
That rules. I love D6 dice pool systems because they're really simple and easy. The probabilities are really fucky though. Basically, what a D6 like dice pool system like Shadowrun does is you have a stat and you have a skill, right? And each of these are represented by a number, right?
Uh-huh.
That number is the amount of dice you roll.
Oh.
And every die that comes up as a 4+ is a success.
Oh.
But like a 6 is like some serious shit. That's a trigger, right? A trigger is like a critical.
Okay.
And as long as you succeed in a roll, a trigger counts as an extra success. So, like, if the target amount of successes is 2, and you're rolling 4 dice, and you roll a 4 and a 6, right? You have 3 successes because one of them was a 6. 6 counts twice.
I feel like this gives you an easier time getting crit rolls than like a D20 system.
I mean, absolutely, and also, if you're talking about like Shadowrun specifically, in Shadowrun 6s explode, which means you roll them again after you roll a 6.
Oh.
So you can, like, I've had situations in Shadowrun where I got like cosmically lucky and ended up rolling like 15 dice.
Oh. That's a lot of dice.
I mean, I started with 5.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like an interesting system.
It has excellent potential for stuff to get incredibly out of hand very quickly.
Would you say the difficulty curve for the dice rolling for like the complexity is a logarithmic scale, or
I'm not sure I'd say that because I don't know enough about math to know exactly what that means.
exponential? Does it get like exponentially more confusing the more dice get involved, like as things go on?
No, because it's like every difficulty is like just like an arbitrary number. Like they give you some examples of like how difficult things are. Like you need 14 successes for like a nearly impossible task, and it's like,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. Weird.
So it's like the more dice you have, then it's literally just like rolling them all and then counting them out.
I don't know. I get frustrated when I have to roll when I have to roll more than like 4 dice, like in D&D when it's like roll 5D, and I'm just like, eh.
Eh. I mean, if you're used to that kind of thing, it stops being like annoying after a while because it's really just like anything below a 4 you can just like ignore. You don't have to think about them at all. And
Okay.
it's not like you're counting up the numbers, you're just counting up the successes. Everything about that reaches the threshold of 4 is like 1 success.
Oh, okay. Huh.
um
Interesting.
there are stats. There are 6 of them. I wrote that in my notes, but they're not really that important. I guess we should probably list them for anyway. Body, agility, charisma, intellect, psyche, and instinct. You're gonna have to run that at 0.5 speed to understand any of that, but
It seems like a rephrasing of like wisdom, dexterity, strength. Is that right? Is kind of what it sounds like. I
basically,
think, yeah, the in the lore book they really like their synonyms.
yeah, they fucking love them. There are loads of skills. Um, I don't want to go through all of them because there's a million of them and a lot of them are self-explanatory. But there are a
We
few
should
that
go
should
over
be.
them one at a time in painstaking detail.
All right. Well, there are a few that really stand out and should be mentioned because they're very flavorful, right?
Uh-huh.
Because they represent like actual choices in your character. So like there's focus and primal. They do similar but different things, and they're contradictory to each other. You can't have both.
Oh.
Focus like represents like a logical, intellectual control over your like self. So like if you come up against a terrifying situation, like you can roll focus to like focus your mind and not be terrified,
So it's like a wisdom saving roll.
basically. And primal is like the same but kind of the opposite, where it's like how like you surrender control to the like pure animal and just like big dick your way through the situation.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah. Noise.
Nice.
And then
Noise. What a king.
And then you have faith and willpower, which are the same thing, basically. Faith and willpower, they're both used for asserting yourself in interactions with others and for like processing like horror after the fact and stuff.
Hmm.
Faith has more to do with like a group-based strength, right? It
Yeah.
has more to do with interacting with other people rather. Whereas willpower is like that, except it's more focused on like yourself and your self-confidence and your personal like mental strength.
Does the game go into as depth of like the consequences of fighting and stuff as like Delta Green and all that?
I don't know if it goes into as much depth as Delta Green, but it does have like a complex like if you get really hurt, then you're like actually pretty fucked up. and like
Oh no.
you can go insane, and it's not good for you. And there are ways to restore your health and your sanity, which will take like time and resources to do. I think it's a little bit more like Red Markets, which nobody is going to hear about because that episode has been swallowed by the void.
It's because Craig was a dummy and doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah, fucking Craig. Fuck off, Craig. Don't fuck off though.
Wait, Craig.
Craig! Whoa, that was a close one.
Yeah, we almost scared him off.
He's gonna end up unionizing if we're not careful.
He can't unionize. There's only one bot.
We'll fire him and hire a scab bot.
The Union of One.
International Brotherhood of the guy who pushes the thing.
International Brotherhood of Discord audio recording bot.
There's a
Singular.
Yeah, singular fucking member. God damn. Okay, so let's continue. We were on faith before. What's next?
Okay, that's all the skills that I really had to point out because they're the ones that actually represent genuine choices in character gen. The rest of them are like, if not self-explanatory, then at least like dull enough to not be like significant major choices.
Makes sense.
Then you got fucking character gen, right?
Character gen seems like a whole thing.
It is a whole fucking thing. It's super easy actually. Like remarkably easy for how like complex the system is. I'm not sure I'd recommend Degenesis for like someone's first game. But like if you've played another, if you're talking about like specifically like D6 like dice pool systems, then Degenesis is probably the simplest one. But like
I've seen some shit, yeah.
For pen and paper games in general, I think Degenesis is a little bit deeper down the rabbit hole.
Mechanically, I think what is it? It's that you like set your character and then you mix and match their culture, their cult, and then something else.
Yeah, basically, you start by like naming your character, giving them a sex and an age, right?
Yes.
And then you throw a bunch of options at the wall, right?
Mm-hmm.
And each of them offer you some sort of like attribute or skill bonus, right?
Yep.
And the cultures are Borka, which is like Central Europe, which has.
Oh wait, I want to say that because it's a lore thing.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the cultures are kind of a loose synonym, like I mentioned earlier. They're kind of a loose synonym of current modern day culture. You've got the Borka, who are the Germans, and they're split between the East and the West. There's a literal like massive earthquake fault line that split the homeland in two.
Reality, by the way, that's never happened in the past. There's no still like persistent cultural divide between those different halves of the country still. Just saying. Apolitical.
It's a good thing to point out.
In the West, Borkins are simps for their past, and they're like digging up really old sauerkraut recipes, and they're like, yes, this is the hallmark of civilization. And off in the East, they're running around like herding mutated sheep and just kind of chilling and surviving. And then you've got the Pollen, who are the Polish, and they're like dealing with a deadly outbreak of disease from the, I think it's there's like if you've played Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead or The Last of Us, they're kind of dealing with that plant zombie business.
Actually, I think it's pronounced Thelastophus.
Yeah. It's Dutch or something.
Yeah.
Philostophus.
Thelastophus.
Pelistos. The yuck. They're dealing with the yuck. The yuck. They're dealing with the yuck. That's how I say it in my dialect.
Well, no, I was talking about the hit video game Thelastophus, starring Joel, who apparently like gets killed by a buff lady and made the gamers angry or something. I don't know.
Whoa, spoilers. Also, hot take alert.
Damn.
You've got the Polish who run around fighting weird plant monsters, and I feel like that's an inverse to the fact that Poland never got the Black Death. So there's like an
They're making up
inversion
for
there.
it.
Yeah, they're making up for it all at once. Then you have the Belkans from that airplane video game who live in the Balkans.
Hmm.
And they're literally just like the Balkans. They're a
Hmm.
patchwork of like different kingdoms and
100 different.
alliances.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's still balkanized, and they're dealing with
Wonder where that term came from.
they're dealing with the villains from the Psychonaut video games who were like running around doing
Mind
spooky
controlling people.
mind control. And then you have the Franks or the Franca who live in France. And it's like the West Germans, they're running around simping around. It's because they're dealing with spore monsters, and it's super bad in France. So the Franks dig up like old cheese that's really moldy and like wine glasses and bottles of wine, and they're like, "Ho ho, this is the height of Coachella. This gives me hope in these dark times. Ho ho ho!" And that's what they're doing, which is kind of strange because, as we all know, the French have no culture
Hmm.
because they're
Correct.
European. And then you have the Hybrispanians, and they're dealing with the Reconquista again because they're being invaded by I think it's the Neo-Libyans. The
Hmm.
Neo-Libyans are the Venice of the world. They're like super affluent merchants, and they're walking around chilling and selling people stuff. And then you
Well, hold
have
on, hold on.
the
You're getting away from here. Because the Neo-Libyans are a cult. We're talking about cultures. They're from
Oh, that's
Africa.
right. They're from Africa. Africa is the culture. Neo-Libyan
Africa
is the cult. That's right.
Africa is the culture. All of Africa has basically been imperialized by the Neo-Libyans.
Yes, so the African culture, they're the superpower of the setting, and they're kind of doing a reverse colonialism to Europe, and they're primarily doing it through Spain, and Spain's trying to do a reconquista, but they're not doing a really good job at it.
Then you have Pergare, which everyone forgets about. It's Italy. It's split down the middle. On the west side, you have like a blasted wasteland, and on the east side, you have like the like lushest farms in the universe. But they're also permanently at war with the Balkans.
Like, again, that's just so random, and there's no
Yeah,
connections to
it's
historical reality.
yeah, it's just so weird that would be the case.
It takes me out of the setting, honestly.
Yeah.
And then there are 13 cults, and I
Well,
think they did
I
13 because
wanna
it was a spooky number.
I wanna elucidate a little bit on like the threats that affect these various areas, right?
Okay.
Because like each area has its own like spore field, which has its own like infestation. Because like when the asteroids came, they brought with them some kind of alien fungus, and the alien fungus has superpowers basically. Um,
Some of that fungus, yeah.
some of that fungus. It has superpowers basically, and all of the regions have their own like superpower, right? Like the one in Franca generates like humans that have like the ability to read pheromones and super smell ability, and the ability to produce pheromones. So like they live in the swamps and control like insects and stuff, and they have the power to like charm and lead people to their doom
I like it. Very cool.
through pheromones. In pollen, they have like most of pollen is being eaten up by like crazy alien vegetation and stuff, and like horrible twisted monsters. But like the monsters of the people who are infected in pollen become like these like horrible like Promethean monsters where they're just kind of like formless and they generate new limbs on demand and stuff. In Balkan, they have the whole like mind control psychic thing, and in Hybrispania, you have people who like literally see the future because they're like in both the future and the past at the same time. And uniquely in Hybrispania, the like infected people are like worshipped by like the majority of the population. Like that's the only place where like infected people are like accepted, basically.
Got it.
In the intro, in the preface to the lore book, there's a little blurb where the makers of the game are like, all of the cultures here have a right to exist, and I'm like, and then after that, I'm reading about the spore monsters mind controlling humans as an alien fungus, and I'm like, maybe.
Except
No, the
those
cultures
ones.
have a right to exist. The crazy alien infected like brain control people are probably a little bit dangerous. I think they tread on the ground that is best left to monsters.
Okay, maybe I might keep doing that, mixing up some cults and cultures, because I don't know, it's kind of a
That's fine. Really
yeah.
similar words.
Also, cults is like the definition for how they define cults in this game. Kind of is what tripped me up because how they define cults is what culture is. It's like a group of people that share a common outlook and like a common way of dealing with stuff. And I'm like, oh, so it's a culture.
Well, I guess it's like there's many different kind of cults out there, right? The one that you think when you cult is like a religious cult, right? Versus say like a cult of personality, people following a very singular person, or a regional cult, i.e., like the culture of an area.
Well, like the cultures are generally like the like customs of the region, whereas cults are more like ideologies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and in Purgari, the infected people that they have are like just psychokinetics. Like they just control like space. They can like throw rocks at you with their mind and stuff.
Oh no.
Africa and Borka both have unique threats facing them. Borka's threat is entirely political. Basically, like the areas that the big like simp cities occupy used to be occupied by some native tribes, and now the tribes are coming back to attack them.
Uh-oh.
And Africa is being menaced by like a massive like world-eating forest of like carnivorous plants, basically.
Oh,
That's not good. They should do something about that.
that is a significant issue.
Yeah, they should probably do something about that. It doesn't sound very, very healthy to live around.
No.
Also, the plants have like a psychic song that causes you to die if you are exposed to it for too long.
Ugh, pop music.
Right? No, it's like you go into like this carnivorous forest, and it's like it's all just like Christmas music in the mall, just like played all the time. And after a little while, you're like, damn, I'm just gonna walk into this pitcher plant. I'm tired of this shit.
You know what? Honestly, after a little bit, you have to decide. Is that going to be really that bad? Probably not.
Being dissolved by a pitcher plant is probably better than listening to mall Christmas music.
It's March. The hallucination is that you believe it's March while they're playing Christmas music.
It's like, are they still playing it from last year, or are they playing it for this year?
I can't take this anymore! And just hurl off the bridge.
Anyways, after you select a culture, then you have to select an archetype. An archetype is like the personality that you're going for, right? And they have the adventurer, the creator, the mentor, the martyr, the ruler, the seeker, the healer, the traditionalist, the mediator, the hermit, the heretic, the conqueror, the abomination, the chosen, the defiler, the protector, the visionary, the zealot, the disciple, the righteous, and the traveler. All of those have a favorite attribute and skills to which they gain +1 each. If we go through all of them one at a time, this podcast will be 4 hours long. If you're hearing rips in the background, just so you know, I have a really shitty nose, and it bleeds all the time when the air is dry.
Have you tried increasing the humidity of the air?
Well, I would, but I'm like poor, and I don't have the money to throw it like.
Well, the air you breathe out of your mouth is a bit humid, so you could just like all
I could wear
day.
a mask. I could wear a mask all day. It'd probably be fine.
Oh, that's true. I have glasses on, and when I wear masks, they fog up really bad.
Same, or they would if I still had glasses to put on.
Or just like keep a glass of water right under your nose. That's like concentrated humidity.
I just like inhale water. That'll be so much humidity that it won't even be a problem.
You'll get your week's worth of water within like 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow, I should be a doctor. I'm
And then I
really
won't
good.
have to worry about
I'm
it.
really good at this. I should be a doctor.
Man, I wish I was a doctor.
That's not an archetype in the game, so
Well, yeah, it is.
wait, where?
Because now we're getting into cults.
Oh,
Next we have cults. This is something we should probably get into because they're like the meat of the game, the meat of character gen.
Alright, hit us up.
They're basically political movements, ideologies, and shit, and institutions, right? First up, you have the Spitalians. They're doctors. Did you know that?
wow. I did.
They're like descendants of like UN doctors and UN soldiers that were like left over after the world ended.
Oh,
And they never gave up their mission to like provide medical care for everybody.
oh, that's really sick. In the good way.
Yeah, I mean, like it's not. I mean, it's literally not sick, and that's kind of the point. But like,
I mean it in the way that the hip kids mean it.
you made it in the way that I mean it.
Yeah.
I'm the hip kids. Hello. They're like doctors, but they're also like soldiers, and they're also kind of like the medical police.
How does that work? Cops with guns?
Well, usually like swords or flamethrowers.
Oh, okay. It's time for your medicine.
All right, so like some of them are like militant type dudes, and some of them are like regular doctors, and some of them are like researchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The militant type dudes go out into the world and like acquire samples for like the researchers, or like root out and kill like people who are like infested with fungus before they like pop and become like fungus monsters, basically.
Okay.
The doctors, they settle down or they do surgeries on people. They work in a hospital somewhere, right?
Makes sense.
And the researchers either go out in the field with the military guys or they stay in a lab and research, right?
Nerds.
Fucking nerds. I fucking hate nerds.
Let's shove them in a
You know
locker.
that?
Well, I would shove them in a locker, but they've got flamethrowers.
As you can tell from the picture I sent you earlier a while ago, right?
Uh-huh.
Spitalians are Grey Tiders.
Wow, that's a obscure reference.
Yes, extremely obscure. Get used to that. The Spitalians are they all shave themselves bald. They all wear like these like impermeable like rubber jumpsuits to keep like the filth of the world out. They all wear gas masks all the time. A lot of them have weapons, and those weapons usually take the form of like a spear called a splayer, because it's also like a sample collection piece of equipment. It's got like a hook grabby apparatus at one end.
Oh.
And like higher ranks of them get stuff like flamethrowers or pistols or swords and whatnot.
That sounds really sick. I feel like a flamethrower is really excessive when you just want to cauterize a wound, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, like, they're the doctors here. I'm gonna trust what they say.
That's true. They know what they're doing. Oh, I'm gonna have to edit that out.
Oh yeah, sorry about
Or I might
that.
leave it in.
Those noises, you like that?
I might leave.
Leave it in. We'll acquire the wrong kind of audience.
Yeah, I won't let you know if I'll leave it in or take it out. I'll just leave you in suspense, and you'll be like, "Oh gosh, I hope I don't listen."
When I'm editing the video, I'll find it and I'll have to listen to myself blowing my nose.
All right, what's next?
Okay, so that was the Spitalians. Oh, incidentally, like all these groups have like special like critical things that they can trigger. And the Spitalian ones are like at certain ranks you can like summon more Spitalians, or like you can form a spear wall because Spitalians' main weapons are spears and they're really good with them.
Ooh,
That kind of thing.
swarm tactics.
Then you get the Chroniclers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The Chroniclers are tech guys who worship the internet, right?
Same.
Yeah, same. Basically, in the immediate aftermath of like the end of the world, there were a lot of people who were totally obsessed with the internet, which no longer had access to the internet. And those people eventually became so obsessed with the internet that they kind of turned it into a religion.
Oh no, they're Redditors.
Basically,
God.
so like they obsessively acquire and catalog like old technology, particularly computer technology, and they control most of the supplies of like old technology in the world. Their eventual end goal is to become Twitch streamers.
Hmm.
Like all of them.
Okay.
And their position in the world is kind of strange because there's a conflict in the distant past where like they and the Anabaptists, which we'll get to later, and the Spitalians had a big like, and the judges, which we'll also get to later, had a big like duke out. And what came out of it was basically chroniclers get to run the entire economy because they have like computers and like they can print money, like paper money.
Yeah.
And in exchange, they are like totally demilitarized and not allowed to carry weapons.
Oh no.
Right. However, that doesn't mean that there aren't any armed chroniclers, right? I mean, all of them are allowed to have like stun weapons, like tasers and stuff, right?
Yeah, that seems fair.
But then but like the chroniclers also have like secret like special forces like hit squads that are like supposedly an illegal conspiracy. They're like deniable assets. Like if a chronicler becomes part of this group, they're just sort of like ritualistically like shut out of the group. But they're able to like quote unquote hack their way back into the compounds and like steal forbidden technology from the compounds. And then they coincidentally go ahead and use that technology to destroy enemies of the chroniclers.
Oh, that's quite a coincidence there.
Yeah, it's extremely coincidental. I'm sure it has nothing to do with reality.
Of course not. Completely parallel.
Yes. It has nothing to do with the fact that those people pissed off the chroniclers, right? But they all like to wear like masks all the time because they like to pretend to be robots, basically. So they wear like armored suits and have robots and stuff, and they have like like wearable technology freaks who like make like a trench coat that has like computers in it,
Like Google Glass and stuff.
just so that they can isolate themselves from the world further.
Oh, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, like that. Like they have like computers built into their like suits, and then they like integrate like the technology into their bodies and shit. And this leads to other groups like more primitive civilizations that maybe don't have like as much knowledge of like the past as them, right? Considering them to be like supernatural wizards or gods. So that leads to like the second illegal conspiracy within the chroniclers, and those are like zeros and needles, right?
Mm-hmm.
A zero is basically someone who like hacks the Gibson and gives themselves admin access so that they can take whatever the fuck they want. And if they ever get found out, then they get like banished, right, or killed. And then a needle is someone who like fucks off to like a cache of technology or like an old bunker in the wilderness, and then like enslaves the local tribe by like pretending to be God by just like holding up a taser and then turning on like a recording of techno music.
Fucking sick.
It's just like some dude shows up and starts playing fucking like
Metallica.
I don't know. Starts playing Metallica on his like suit's speaker system, and all of these cavemen, all of these grugs are gathering around, and they're like, "Holy shit!" So like he uses them. He becomes like a dictator, and he like orders his minions to go out and steal technology and imperialize people.
Rude.
And that's what a needle is. And when needles are caught in range of an armed chronicler, which are shutters, fuses, and scalars, they get like something like 1d6 shutters showing up to stab them in the guts until they die.
Uh-oh.
Basically, it's good.
Yeah, they sound really not like good guys.
They're kind of not and kind of are. It depends on which one. All of these groups are like not necessarily good guys, but not necessarily bad guys either.
What does Centrist take?
Right? Can't believe this.
Unbelievable.
Can't believe it.
Who's next?
Helvetics. People.
Aren't those just
These guys
literally the Swiss?
Yep, literally the Swiss.
So, fun fact: the Helvetics are my favorite faction in the entire game.
Why?
Yeah, because they still have like transhuman level technology.
Exactly, and I think they're also like trying to preserve knowledge. Is their whole deal?
Oh,
What'd you say? Sorry, I was blowing my nose.
No worries. I said if I remember correctly, these guys are looking to preserve knowledge, but not the crazy nonsense the chroniclers are doing.
They're not really as influenced by like preserving knowledge. What they really want to do is like emerge from the few parts of Switzerland that still are like Switzerland, and return to the rest of Switzerland and take it all back over and make it all Switzerland again. That's their main like driving goal for their faction.
Nope. It's still completely relevant. Still my very favorite group right now.
Mm-hmm.
Do they get
But basically,
special transhumanist mechanics?
well, they start with an assault rifle and
Ooh.
a suit of like future armor.
Noise.
Like an entry level Helvetic has like a ruggedized like cyberpunk assault rifle and like a suit of like clamshell armor that'll protect against bullets.
Noise.
They also get 5 rounds per month for their assault rifle because they're not expected to fight that much.
Oh no. That is a very Swiss thing, though. I think that's what they do in real life.
Yeah, I mean, you get. I think in Switzerland, like, I mean, everybody has a weapon, right? And you get like X amount of ammo for like training use per interval.
Giant fan.
Yeah, they give you.
No,
Everyone gets a.
I think every country should have that, but you know.
Everyone gets guns, but the government only gives you like 5 bullets a year.
I mean, I'm down with that. Whatever.
Use them wisely. The Swedish king comes down to your house personally and just drops them on your
They
head.
have, believe it or not, Switzerland has like never had a king. It's always been a republic.
Oh my god, whatever. They've had a queen. Excuse me.
It's always been a republic.
Girl boss, whatever.
I can't fucking believe any of you.
Anyways, the fucking like Helvetics have a bizarre like arcane like ranking system is the thing that branches significantly. You start out as like a soldier, then you rank up to corporal, and then you had like your ranks split off into like 100 different specialties, and they all get different types of training and equipment. That's pretty neat. Helvetics have by far the most like advanced and consistent access to like high technology and weaponry.
So they're like the precursors in most fiction.
Yeah, basically.
Sick. Super
Um,
cool Swiss guys. Always fun.
Big fan.
the effect they have on the setting is basically like they guard like the mountains and the mountain passes and make it safe for people to cross over between like Germany and Italy.
It's nice of them.
And occasionally they go out and do some humanitarian shit in what remains of Switzerland, to try to like raise the standard of living. Because I think their qualification for it is now Switzerland again is like returning to the level of like technology that they had in Switzerland, I think.
Good for her.
But it doesn't change the fact that like their goal is to increase the amount of Switzerland in the world. That's their entire driving goal, which is very strange. They're the only like holdover from the old world, other than the Palers, which we'll also get to later. Another downside to playing a Helvetic is that you have to report into your superiors if you're below a certain rank every like month.
Ugh.
Or they declare you to be a renegade and send dudes to hunt you down and kill you.
Ugh. Typical management.
Finally, a system of ranking that I can get behind.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Finally, the police have some fucking accountability. They don't report in, they get fucking murdered. It only took 500 years in the world ending.
Jesus Christ.
Anywho's, then we have the judges. Have you ever read The Dark Tower?
I haven't, but it's been on my list. Tell me about it. Tell me about what the judges do.
Okay, so the judges are like law cowboys. They inhabit like the whole world, but specifically they run like the biggest city in West Germany, right? in West Borka.
Okay, so can I take back my my comment about the Helvetics being my favorite faction?
Okay.
So fickle.
So like they're cowboys. They follow the law. They are the law, right?
Mm-hmm.
Their three symbols are cowboy hats, hammers, and flintlock pistols.
I love them.
And they all are armed with a hammer and or a musket of some sort, and they all have a cowboy hat. They also all have a book of law. Basically, what they do in the world is they go around uh, enforcing things out of the book of the law, right?
Uh-huh.
And occasionally they come back to this giant city that they own called Justitian in order to update their book of law. Basically.
Is it like the Book of Grudges and Warflore?
Basically,
Oh no.
it's like it's just a bunch of like legal cases in a book, and they all have to make decisions based on the precedent set in the legal cases.
Ugh, lawyers. We can't even escape
They're
lawyers
both
in the
cowboys.
apocalypse.
They're both cowboys and lawyers. Look, lawyers aren't bad. Lawyers can do a lot of good. The reason we all hate lawyers is because in the 90s, it became fashionable to hate lawyers because corporations are trying to like disparage the idea of the rule of law.
Oh no. I guess I have to like lawyers now.
You don't have to like lawyers. You just have to not hate lawyers.
Fine.
Legal
Yeah.
Eagle is the only good lawyer.
Yes, absolutely. Legal is very, very good. What
He's
about
also very handsome.
what about Boozy Badger?
I've never watched that.
Well, they also don't make videos, so
Oh,
A
okay.
plus. Legal Eagle is pretty
I
good.
don't watch that anime. What's that Legal Eagle anime?
Legal Eagle is I believe it's a harem anime, but it's all lawyers.
Yes,
Oh.
it's all just laws, and there's like this one guy in the middle who talks about the laws, and the laws are like, "Ooh, take me to the park, please. We'll eat cotton candy under the stars." And then he's like, "So this is what the president does that's illegal."
So it's like Hitalia, but with lawyers.
You got it. You A plus.
Thanks, I hate it.
With less access as well.
I don't like this.
Hey, it's like I don't know, free advertisement for random people on the internet.
They better pay us.
If you want to sponsor us, give us a heads up.
Oh my god, dude! Look, the sponsors will start rolling in any day now. You just watch, mark my words, buddy. We're on the up and up here.
Look, Raid Shadow Legends, we've got 4 consistent viewers.
Oh shit!
2 of them are me on different accounts.
I mean, I'll take that. I'd take a
sell it to ones of people.
You've literally doubled our viewership with your alts.
No, I swear you can go ahead and anytime you want to go ahead and throw us one of those hot checks for that one, I will certainly play your game.
I'll accept upwards of 50 to 75 cents for my contribution. All right.
We talked about Cowboys.
All right, we talked about the Cowboys. I like them. They're Sheriff Cowboys. They're fun.
That seems like a great idea. That seems really fantastic, actually.
Sorry, I had a sip of coffee. Wow, that's probably going to sound like shit on the recording, huh?
Oh,
I should probably not leave the spoon in my
Just
cup.
you slurping your coffee and blowing your nose. This is the quality podcast content.
It's ASMR. It'll drag in the viewers.
Finally.
All right, so next we have clanners, right? They paint a deep picture of clanners as being like any primitives, but really clanners are literally anyone. The clans are like, when you make a clanner character, you make up your own clan. You could be anything from like literal cavemen to like transhuman like gods living in a mountain somewhere. And anywhere from like a dozen, like 5 to 10 people to like millions of people. So like you can either randomly generate or select, and like clans are like everyone. Like if you're not part of another cult, which most people aren't, you're part of a clan. Clanners make up like 95% of the world's population, basically.
Interesting.
for that reason, it's really difficult to describe them succinctly and in a way that is interesting.
They're your freeform option where you can just do whatever you want.
Yes, exactly.
I like that.
You can on the clan generation page. It's pretty cool. You can like select your tech level, your worldview, your form of government, your cultural identity, and your like income source, basically. And those all have an effect on like what stats you have favored for your clan. For your clan, what stats you get for being a clanner.
I like that. That's really cute. I like that. I like freeform options.
I like that. I like that comment of like, yeah, I like that. I like that. It's really cute.
It's
Hold on.
really cute. I mean, you can have your own little like group of people.
Yeah.
I like it. I do really
You
enjoy
can go
that.
buck wild and write your own little civilization.
Go ahead and get buck wild. Your entire civilization.
No, my entire civilization. Too.
Oh!
Are you guys having a collective stroke? What's going on?
Yes, we're referencing a really shitty, like old, like animated movie.
You say shitty, but it has 2 full seasons.
It's really funny, and it got turned into like an actual series at some point.
Probably on Adult Swim, I bet.
Yes, it sure has.
God, you freaking millennials.
Full season,
show you
and
later.
the second one.
We'll show you later.
Alright, now, who's next?
Okay, who's next? Who's gonna fall next? We have Scrappers, right?
Ooh, these guys are pretty cool.
Every faction has been your favorite faction so far.
No, well, no. That's a lie. Okay, no, pull your fucking jorts up, all right?
All right, I'll pull my jorts up. Hold on.
Now, listen, I didn't say shit about clanners, right?
And incidentally, since you don't get to see us, like you viewers don't get to see us, we are in fact all wearing like jorts with a polo shirt tucked in.
I'm also wearing
yeah,
jandals.
Yeah, and jandals.
Yep. And
which are denim sandals.
I'm wearing a jacket right now. Is it made out of denim? That's up to you to decide.
I've got my
I think so.
my jort paste and my jute brush and my jower curtains and oh gosh, I'm running out of jort puns.
When we eventually take this professionally and we get into
my Gene Pewter.
Yeah, your computer. I've seen a G board once.
Or a jumputer.
So I was when we finally get professional and we're doing this for real, we'll be coming live to you on our jouch.
Our first live show. All of the
Thank
seats
God.
will be leather. Oh my gosh, I can't talk today. Will be jort seats.
You know, after this big economic fuck up, like real estate is gonna be dirt ass cheap. You could get like an office at the top of a skyscraper or something.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm sure that'll work out. Very excited. Hey, actually, let's talk about Scrappers.
Tell us about Scrappers, Bucks.
Let's make a podcast about how great our podcast is gonna be.
Shit.
Welcome to Your Game May Vary is a good podcast. Reloaded.
Reloaded, unplugged.
Anyways, okay, Scrappers, right?
Yeah.
Scrappers are the second faction with the most like access to old technology because they dig it up out of the ground.
Nice.
When the asteroids hit, it buried a lot of cities and it preserved them remarkably well because it packed them in ash, basically. So like there's a lot of like remarkably well preserved like old technology just like buried in the ground everywhere since Europe was basically a megacity when the world ended.
Ooh.
So like there's a whole like economy of people that just like literally make their entire lives like being like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider. Just like going into ancient like ruined cities underground and just like finding a MacGuffin, like they find like an iPhone, and then they bring it up and they sell it to a bunch of nerds that pretend to be robots, like cosplay nerds. And it's great. It's really lucrative, but like there's a lot of intense, fierce competition between scrappers, and there tend to be like isolationist, like weird survivalist dudes that live in the woods.
Oh gosh, they're libertarians.
They are very much libertarians. They're self-made. They pulled themselves up by their bootstraps.
I wish I could pull myself up to by my bootstraps some days.
Me too. But you got they expand by like hiring like apprentices. They're basically a guild, right? But they're like a guild of hobos, right? Because they have their own like hobo code. They have like markings that they put on walls to warn each other, or like they're basically like in Dark Souls, like how you can leave a message on the ground. They're like that. And that's how they communicate. They communicate by writing bug butt fire on the ground in orange soapstone. There are scrapper like cartels that try to like create like an organized group to go around and scrap stuff. But the vast majority of scrappers are just like individual scrappers and their apprentices just like peeling around in like the ruins of a small town for old iPhones and shit.
But they're different from like raiders and stuff. They don't steal from you. They're just like digging up stuff. And then instead of studying it, they just sell.
Yeah, they don't really study it. They just kind of like keep whatever is immediately useful to them, and then they sell everything that's not. And they're like the main like economic like source of like old technology and also like steel. Because like there's no reason to dig up iron ore and process it if there's already like giant skyscraper skeletons just made of steel in the ground that you can just dig up.
Oh yeah.
That does make perfect sense.
And like there's art in the book about it in like Kurgari, I think, but like they also like do shipbreaking and stuff.
I think that's the thing I always like that in video games that are set in the far future, like in the video game RimWorld, you can dig up like compacted machinery just from super old buildings.
Buildings that have collapsed and have been forgotten.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of RimWorld,
It's really
so
cute.
I'm right with you.
It's
there.
really cute.
It's a very cute game. You can mod and escape it.
And the appeal of a scrapper is that like not only are they like really good at identifying old technology to sell, but they also are like experienced at surviving in the wilderness, and they're also just like general adventurers because they like brave these horribly dangerous ruins that may or may not be full of like old killbots and stuff.
Can you negotiate with the killbots?
Actually, no.
Aww.
They only
I got really excited there for a second.
They only recognize people with social security numbers, and the last people with social security numbers died out 500 years ago. So they just go around and they're like, yeah, warning, citizen, you are entering a curfew area, and then they blow your head off with a gun.
Can't you just make up a social security number? Like, my social security number is 1, 2...
No, because they don't have access to the databases anymore, so they couldn't check if they wanted to. So everything is invalid.
Typical AI.
Wow, that's really racist. Can't believe you would say something
I'll
like
edit
that.
it out so our AI fans aren't offended.
Alright, thank you. Next we have Neo-Libyans. They're basically rich boy adventurers from Africa engaging in slum tourism in Europe.
Oh, they must be popular on Netflix.
Yep. They almost definitely have like a short series on like Vice or something.
Yeah, I watched one of those on Netflix. It's this guy that went to like these horrible slums that were devastated by some natural disaster or whatever, and he's like, I'm having so much fun, you guys. And I'm like, ugh.
What a scumbag.
I fucking hate those people. I remember when I was a kid and I thought like Vice is really cool, but then I was like, wait a second, they literally just go places and laugh at people. What the fuck?
And then they went
This
to
is
like
incredibly fucked
this
up.
super radioactive lake, and like the locals have to fish out of it to get like fish to eat, and then they're just like, haha, what if as a joke we go swimming in this radioactive lake, ha ha ha, and the locals are like, oh, I mean, I guess. Yeah, and they're like, haha, and then they go swimming in the lake, and they're like, haha, it's radioactive,
Cancer,
ha ha ha. And I'm like, wow, I hope you guys get a weird mutation and grow a third arm
Right at the center of your
in a
chest,
video
yeah.
game.
In Minecraft. In Fallout, actually.
And Minecraft
You know-
modded to have Fallout in it.
Actually, there is a pretty good Minecraft mod that does add that
There's a
stuff.
Minecraft
The
mod for
nuclear science
everything.
mod. Yeah, but it's a really cool one. It's like nuclear science. It's one of my favorite mods.
Okay, nerd.
Yeah, I guess I'll just fucking shoot myself with my Q-watch. That's a reference. That is not a threat or like I'm not making fun of suicide. That's a reference to a TV show.
Uh-huh. Twitter, do your thing.
Damn.
That's not a good look.
Anyway, and no, it really isn't. I'm really sorry. Anyway, Neo-Libyans have like the most access to like wealth because they come from like the rich superpower of the world. Um, so like they're like throwing money away where other people are like scraping for it, you know?
I like that.
They Neo-Libyans like their main thing is like they're very much based entirely around like social skills and stuff. They're not really like fighters.
They're like the pompous nobles of the setting.
Yeah, basically. You know, they do like trading and social stuff and they become like explorers and stuff. They're from Africa. The reason that Africa is so advanced in this is because weather patterns saved it, basically. When the asteroids hit, like most of the dust and debris concentrated at the poles. And then like all that vaporized water had to become rain somewhere. So like it all rained down on the Sahara. So like the Sahara is this beautiful like green forest, you know?
Pretty.
And like all of Africa is incredibly like resource rich and it was barely damaged at all by the like giant cataclysms. So like, you know, there was a ton of like UN missions there and stuff. So like when the rest of the world ended, like they just kind of like had all these resources laying around already there for them and they were like, well, nobody else is around to steal all of our resources anymore. So let's just be what they were. So they did.
It's so rare to find
Uh,
settings where like Africa is like a big deal, and I always like it because it's so underused in so many fictions that take place in the apocalypse, and
it's fucking tragic because it's like what? Because it's like how many resources do we get from Africa? Like all of them, and it's like what if they just had those resources and didn't have to worry about them being just like taken away from them all the time?
yeah, and it's like they're still like super important economically nowadays, and there's like huge cities across Africa, but there's still such a huge blind spot for all of these different cultures from the continent. And it's just really disappointing because all of it is like super sick when it's used properly.
There's only two games that I know of where Africa is a big deal, and they're Halo and Traveler. And that's it.
Or when I
That is
play
a real
Crusader
shame.
Kings 2.
Yeah. Sorry, Rat. Go ahead.
No. I was saying I super enjoy that trope too, and I think it should be used a lot more often.
I like Africa and like Southeast Asia becoming really important.
Yes, absolutely.
Those are both really cool. South America to a lesser extent, because it usually ends up it's used more often South America, and when it's used, it's often used as like an extension or replacement for North America doing the same thing.
Oh yeah, or like it's a Call of Duty game. It's just like drug cartel the country. And it's like, wow, that's so cool. Thanks for your original
Yeah,
take.
it's very yawn-inducing.
Yeah, but this one's really cool. I really like what Degenesis is doing with the African continent. Not like blowing it up and stuff with meteors, but just like how they're chilling and vibing and selling people old iPods.
Yeah, well, new iPods, they still make
Oh
them.
yeah, that's right. They're selling people new iPods.
They still have like their factories and shit. Like, they run shit.
I hope they do something about that weird
Uh,
fungus.
Me too.
I hope they get that covered. It's a big stress of mine.
New trope, Black Savior. Wait, is that like a liberal thing? I'm pretty sure it
I don't
is. I'm
know.
pretty
Maybe
sure.
it's like a boss queen thing.
I'm not worried about it. I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go.
Same. Let's move on because there's another incredibly interesting African faction up next, the Scourgers. Remember when I said that there was a UN mission to Africa? Whatever happened to all those peacekeeper soldiers?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Well, they're the
Spaghetti-o.
Scourgers. They're the Scourgers. They're friends with the Neo-Libyans. They're basically a bunch of, like, samurai, basically. That's kind of the role that they fill.
All right, I'm feeling it already.
I love it.
They travel the country, or the continent, acting as, like, mercenaries for Neo-Libyans and other people. Whoever can afford them. They're really obsessed with, like, honor.
Makes sense.
And they all wear masks all the time.
Nerds.
They usually use like the sort of like their default equipment is the sort of like Zulu, like spear and shield kind of thing. I don't know if that's specifically Zulu. I just remember seeing like Zulu guys with that.
I'm already super into it.
But they have like the oval spear, the oval shield and the spear thing, right? But they also just have like assault rifles and shit.
Oh.
And like and they also have like modern like military technology in addition to like their medieval armor and weapons. And like they're like a sign of like a really really like badass like scourger is like having a lot of like old medals and rank insignias and epaulets from like hundreds and hundreds of years ago, like old militaries and stuff. They basically collect old military memorabilia. One day they're all gonna find like a giant cache of like old, like in some like chud's basement, like a whole bunch of like old German military equipment. And they're gonna be like, "Oh damn, that's so sick," and then nobody's gonna have the heart to tell them where it's from.
Oh no, they're what do you call them? Honor thief. What do you call it when like you wear fake medals but you're not a soldier?
Valor
Valor
Sealers.
Sealers, yeah.
I mean, they're not stealing it really. I mean, they are badasses. They're not like Jim going out there dressed as like like a space shuttle door gunner or anything.
I don't know.
You know?
Seems kind of yikes. It's not a good look.
Listen, argue with the book, not me.
They're super hardcore raiders. I think the Scourgers are literally African slavers, and they believe that they're avenging the African continent by enslaving the white man. And they ride huge hyenas.
I don't think they ride huge hyenas.
I read something that like they tame really big hyenas, and I just presume that they ride them.
They tame animals. I don't know if they ride them. Hyenas are kind of small to ride. I'm sorry.
Maybe I just saw the word large hyena and I thought about how badass it would be to like ride a hyena into battle, and it wrote a fan fiction and it infiltrated into my text.
I ain't gonna say that it wouldn't be badass because it would absolutely be badass.
It would be incredible, actually.
I'm sorry that I've included my fan fiction into my notes.
The Scourgers, and by extension the Neo-Libyans, get along with the Helvetics and consider them to be like the only other legitimate like government in the world. But otherwise, like the Scourgers and the Neo-Libyans have like this common like disdain for Europe because it's such a shithole, basically.
Yeah, fucking mood.
Well, I mean, Europe is still okay right now in real life, but I have a disdain for the place that I live because it is a shithole.
I don't know. I mean, they're Europeans, and we all know that Europe doesn't have any culture.
That's true. Noteworthy things about the Scourgers is they still have like tanks and armored vehicles and stuff.
Sick.
Although they prefer not to use them because it's more honorable to go out there dual wielding AKs and blasting away.
True.
It is in fact, it's objectively more honorable. I agree.
I am bringing my ancestors honor, and it's just boom, 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 just
By being incredibly badass.
And then I'm super excited to hear about the Anubians.
Okay. Well, next we have the Anubians, right?
Wish granted.
The Anubians are probably psychic.
Ooh,
right?
sick. That's really cute.
I think you're let into the Anubians by going through a ritual in which you ritualistically die and then are restored somehow.
That's really cute.
But it gives you like genuine psychic powers. They can kind of see the future. They have a natural sense of like the ability to heal people. Like they're just like crazy good doctors. And they also have the ability to ward away the horrible like psychic overgrowth that like is consuming this southern half of Africa. So like the way that people survive expeditions into like this carnivorous forest is by like hiring Anubians to like calm the forest as they go through it.
They're druids, basically.
Basically, they're druids who like worship death. I think they also like offer like rights to people who are dying or something.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm actually really enjoying that.
It's kind of like they are a holdover from ancient Egypt.
Yeah, I wish I knew more about them, but I didn't read that far into the lore book.
They're
But they are
basically like a
super.
secret ISIS cult, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, like the old school ISIS, not like the modern ISIS.
Not the new edgy ISIS. You gotta go for the ISIS's old stuff, like their early work.
Yeah,
It's kind of like no one listens to new
not the
corn.
gritty reboot ISIS.
Gritty reboot ISIS. Good shit.
And maybe we should breeze through the other ones. I can take over because I know about them and they're super cool and cute.
I think my favorite is the Anabaptists and the Palers, but you can go right ahead and breeze through
All
them.
right.
I'll stop you if I have something
I'm gonna
to say.
take the ball out of your court. I'm gonna wrench it away, and I'm gonna put it in my court because I'm really focused on just speeding through here and not wasting any time. So I'm just gonna do it really quick and without wasting like a moment's breath. I'm just gonna sit down and hammer it out and just speed on through. And it'll go by super quick and it won't drag on. And it's like imagine if instead of doing that I just like dragged out a joke that took too long and everyone started to hate me. Like I'm not going to do that. But
Okay.
the next ones I'll start with like the Palers. They are like explicitly mentioned as kind of being a community and a cult. They are basically the elves that lived underground in Elder Scrolls. They're super pale because they just live in the dark and they like it. They like hiding in the dark and then going boo when you walk nearby and you go huh. And that's kind of what they
They're
base their culture
they're the
around.
leftover people that survived in the bunkers after like the world blew up.
Yeah. And then you have the Anabaptists, and they are, I don't know how to pronounce what they're specifically described as, pre-Eschaton religion. It's one of the words for
Eschaton.
the apocalypse, right?
Eschaton,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're kind of like real life Anabaptists transplanted to the future. They want to also purify the earth of like
They're Gnostics.
yeah, they want to get rid of all the gross, nasty, yucky stuff going around. And like everyone thinks they're sus because they're super aggressive and but they're like really like they've got that Protestant work ethic so they can just kind of farm a field and it grows 30 apple trees. And then you have the apocalyptics who are right libertarians who just do whatever they want and they're kind of like that other group of people you mentioned where you can just free form anything you want, but they're just the cavemen in that scenario. They just run around.
No, apocalyptics are like drug dealers and shit.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I was using the nasty stereotypes of cavemen. They're basically nomadic Las Vegasians just rolling over the
They bring,
wasteland.
but critically, they don't. What happens in Vegas does not stay in Vegas. They bring Vegas with
Yeah,
them.
they're spreading Vegas across the world. And then there's the oh no, I think I misspelled them in my notes. They're the
Mohammedans.
the Jamma Damma Damma Dams. They're also a religious
in the
group,
games.
but I didn't get quite enough into what they're all about.
They're a rigidly caste-based society that worships a deity called Ares,
Okay.
who may or may not be an immortal nano-enhanced super soldier from before the fall of
Oh my
Earth.
god. I wish I read up to that point. That sounds really cute.
He chooses his followers from among the Mohammedans by offering some of his nanite-infused blood to them, and they drink it and they become nanite-infused as well.
Sick, I like it.
But the Mohammedans have a very like strict, rigid, like caste-based society.
Oh, that's not as cool.
They're coded as being like some sort of weird like hybrid of like Middle Eastern Jewish people and Muslim people. And they primarily live in Balkan, but they live everywhere, and they do not get along with Anabaptists at all. They fight each other all the time. They're permanently at war in like Purgari.
Again, there's no historical connection there.
Yeah, exactly. No historical connection at all.
It's just random lore.
Um,
So yeah, that's all of
my
the
favorite,
cults and the
my
cultures.
favorite cult, my favorite cult is the Anabaptists. I like them because they are just like Jesus guys. They have flamethrowers and they have swords.
The Neo-Libyans, just because I love
I'm
my...
extremely sorry. You go ahead
Okay.
first.
I like the Neo-Libyans because I just really love my affluent merchant empires. And it's set in North Africa, which is just always a really cool area to hang out in. And they give me, I guess, one of my favorite historical civilizations is like Carthage, and they have a really heavy Carthage vibe, so I'm kind of vibing with it.
Yeah, I'm super down with that. I believe that's the end of the cults.
Mm-hmm.
Characters have 6 backgrounds, and those are basically like various like status effects you have with your cult, right? And you have authority, which is like prominence within the cult's hierarchy, not necessarily like direct rank, but like influence within. Like if you have a high authority, then like you can order around people your rank easily. If you have a low authority, it's going to be harder to order them around, even if you technically have like the authority to do it. You just don't have like the you don't have what it takes. People don't consider you, you know.
You're not interesting. You ain't nothing, kid.
Yeah, exactly. Then you have renown, which is social prominence in the cult, independent of the structure of the cult.
Okay.
So it's like, you know, you might be just like a private in the army, but like you're a super, super well known and important private. You know?
You're famous. You're an influencer.
Gotcha. I know exactly how it is. It's fucking like God, what is this stupid face? Church from no, it's fucking like we know like fucking Caboose from like the Red v Blue series. Yeah, everyone knows that asshole.
I've never watched that.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it.
Don't.
Okay.
Resources, right? It's basically like your wealth or your access to cult resources. If you have a high resource background, then like you just like you're like friends with the armor and you can get away with taking more shit out, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've seen systems like that. Makes sense.
Secrets is like forbidden or deep knowledge of the cult's history or philosophy or plans, right?
Uh-huh.
And then networking is social contacts outside of the cult, and you get like X amount of ranks in each of these. Like I think you get like 4 ranks to choose from, to split up between them in character gen. I like that because you can have like it gives you a lot of like room to stat out like what your like what relationship your guy actually has with the like cult that he belongs to.
Yeah, and it sounds really modular too. And it's because like there's you have all these different pieces here and you just mix and match as you so choose. So it's really in depth, but in a really intuitive way, it seems like.
I'm a big fan of stuff like that, honestly. Give me a fucking excuse.
Try it and see what happens.
I wish a motherfucker would.
Alright, what's next, Bucks?
Now I basically explain that there's kind of a level system in that there's a bunch of different ranks in each cult that like you can move between them once you like gain what you need to get into that rank of the cult. It's not super important to talk about, but it is like it's there. And a lot of the ranks have like specific like requirements or like penalties or like also like different new pieces of equipment or new skills that you get from it, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Additionally, like different ranks of different cults have access to different potentials, which a potential is like a crit effect. You trigger it with a number of triggers when you make a test. It would take way too long to go through each of them for every cult, but every cult has some. And of course, the clanners, they're mix and match, so there's a whole bunch of different potentials you can pick.
I like it.
Like the Spitalians split into combat and technical branches. The Chroniclers split between like the main and then like the Shutter branch. The Anabaptists switch between or split between ascetic and orgiastic.
Excuse me, what was that second one?
Orgiastic.
Is that what I think it means?
If by what you think it means you mean like hedonism, then yeah.
Ha, nice.
Basically, ascetics run like the background of the Anabaptists, and the orgiastics are like the fighters. They go out, they get super high on drugs, and they go out in the field, and then they like kill 1 million brown people, and then they come back, and then they fuck.
Oh, I don't like that so much anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
that's not a good look.
They're my favorite. They're my favorite group, but they are yikesy. I'm not gonna lie. It's just because I have a soft spot for Gnostics. Okay.
I can understand that. I feel that. I have a soft spot for Gnostics.
If all right, so like the thing about the Anabaptists is they don't kill the brown people because they're racist against the brown people. They kill the brown people because they're in conflict with the brown people.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
As in they don't kill people because they're brown. They kill the specific people that they're fighting. Trigomedons.
Yeah, okay, Vux.
I'm gonna die on this hill and like I'm gonna fucking throw hands in defense of like racists. Okay? I'm actually just coming out as a racist right now.
Oh no.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. I like the idea, Gail. Right?
Yeah.
I enjoy the idea that you're sitting here. We know what you mean. I know what you mean. Right? I want you to be aware. I know what you mean.
All right, this is starting good. Starting strong.
I really love the idea that there's somewhere in your deep fucking skull where you're just like, racism's not that bad, guys.
No, I'm not racist, but have you ever seen brown people in the same place at the same time?
Have you? You have it. They're the same
person.
That's exactly what I do. Oh fuck!
I'll have to edit all this out.
Just like sentence makes it to me saying something nice.
Yeah, that was you. This whole segment was like me not editing everything and not splicing words together.
You just take like some of Rat's words and splice it into my sentences to make it sound less bad somehow.
We'll just say that Craig does our audio recording, and it's like, whoa, I didn't say that. Craig edited that in.
Wow, Craig.
Whoa. I can't believe you sentence mixed me saying I was gonna die for racism.
Man, Craig, that's not a good look. Twitter, do your thing. Okay. Now that we've canceled Craig.
Now we're at the background time, right? This has been a pretty long episode. I think we've been recording for like an hour at this point. But basically, in the lore, first you had like a post-cyberpunk, like super advanced Earth with like immortality and space travel and stuff like that. But then like a giant asteroid was coming. The asteroid was like kind of easy to stop, like people had a plan. But then some like fascist billionaire with a 1,000-year plot to breed the ultimate Aryan race showed up and just like sabotaged the world's defenses and then fucked off to Mars. None of that is extremely relevant to like the game, except that that guy is the reason why that there's still like random like nano enhanced like super soldier dudes like occasionally popping up around the world.
Oh, so Mars is still doing stuff? Because I never got to the part where...
No. Like, they were all, like, planted ahead of time in bunkers.
Oh, okay.
Right? In cryo storage, waiting to be revived, right?
Makes sense. I'm feeling it.
In batches to be revived in intervals of, like, 100 years,
I think
right?
that was the plot
Ah,
in
okay.
The New Order, a mod for Hearts of Iron.
Unfortunately, the computers all got fucked by the same virus that destroyed, like, the like, defenses that allowed the asteroids to get through. So, like... people are just like waking up like randomly. Like people that were supposed to wake up after like year 600 are waking up in year 100 and stuff. So like this like crazy fascist plot just immediately just shits the bed and stops working.
Very good. Excellent. Good choice. Excellent
Good.
shit.
You know, and some of the like super soldiers gave up on their job of like conquering the world for fascism. And they ended up just like killing and like stealing the implants of like freshly awakened like ancient like super soldiers, and they're called marauders, right? And the marauders are the other big threat of the setting because for all intents and purposes they're essentially gods, right?
Oh no.
They're not really, you can't really kill them. They have incredible like speed, strength, and durability owing to the fact that they're like super soldiers from 500 years ago who are immortal. They can grant their powers to other people. Their presence like fucks with people somehow. Like, I don't know, maybe it's like nanites or some shit, but like them being present, like they have some sort of control over other people.
That's not good. I don't like this at all. That's not cute.
There are some that are friendly, some that are like entirely neutral, and some that are like incredibly dangerous, right? Because you have fuck, what's his name? Well, you have Aspera, right? Who is like some incredibly ancient lady who's immortal, who occasionally meets with the chroniclers, and they're big fans of her because she's like a streamer or some shit.
She's got an OnlyFans.
She's simping really hard, guys.
You know, and then you have like Chernobog, who's like this really gross dude. His skin is falling off. Who
Fantastic aesthetic. I feel that.
and he is basically like the Khan of like a million different like caveman tribes in Balkan, and he's like leading them and in like an unholy like war of conquest over the entire world or some shit. You know, and then you have like the Vulture who took over Britain and nobody can get in or out of Britain anymore.
Oh no. So Britain's just like this unexplored hellhole?
Yes. And anyone who enters or leaves gets just like mulched by this like ancient super soldier.
Oh no, that's not going to help tourism at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's really going to be hard for them to recover from COVID with an ancient super soldier like interdicting their whole country.
It's really putting a drag on situations. Yeah.
Their lockdown is on like lock though.
Yeah, they're not going to have any issues.
Oh come on, that was a great joke. Y'all just didn't laugh because you're already sabotaging my successful
I was also
career.
muted.
Yeah, I was muted because I was blowing my nose because I'm sick. I'm sorry. I don't know if you could tell by like the sound of my voice, but I'm actually super congested.
Oh no. Have you tried not doing that? Like we've got a podcast to do.
Yeah, well, you know what? I just don't have like the work ethic that you require.
You need
me.
to pull
sorry.
yourself up by your bootstraps.
You're right.
Yeah, there you go. Get that work ethic up.
So like we basically covered the fungus and the marauders, right?
Yep.
And those are the two main threats in like the world.
Makes sense.
Can we think of anything else we should cover?
I think we hit a lot of really good points today.
I hope so. I feel like I talked a lot.
The lore books that came out, I do want to mention that I believe that the lore books, which came out separately from the game manual, they're kind of just like novels in and of themselves, and they're free online, and they are really good, and they're full of really great body horror art.
Which I'm a huge fan and I support immensely.
By lore books, do you mean like Primal Punk, or is there more that I don't know
Oh,
about?
Primal Punk. There might be more that you don't know about. I don't know.
There might be, but like Primal Punk is the setting document.
Yeah,
And
and it's really fun.
Catharsis is the system document.
Yeah, I liked reading about them. They were really good at setting the mood, and they were very spooky.
Like I said, I've been obsessed with running this game for literal years, but I've just never found the right group to run it with. It's another one of those things that I'd probably prefer to play than run, but I think I'd probably have fun running it too.
Makes sense.
Maybe it's on Tabletop Simulator.
Well, this game doesn't really have like minis or like that kind of thing. It's all narrative, so you could do it wherever you want it.
Oh, okay, I will,
In
but
fact-
because I want to, and not because you told me to.
Okay, yeah, alright.
If I were gonna run it, I'd probably just do it on Discord with a dice bot because it's probably just way easier that way.
Maybe.
Easiest way to go and do anything, really.
So you could like guerrilla play the game. You don't need any sort of setup or maps or anything.
You don't really need maps, but like having some kind of setup would be nice because, like, even if it's just like reading through the book and like coming up with an adventure ahead of time, but like you don't really need maps.
Like, what does the game master like physically do? Like, we've got our characters and we're ready to go out and vibe check the Ravagers. What does that look like? What would a game look like?
Well, I figure that, I mean, obviously I've never run it because I still want to, but I never did. But if I were going to run it, what I would do is, like, I'd probably GM it the same way I GM everything else, where it's just, like, I have a plot and, like, I don't force people to follow it, but I kind of have, like, the way I tend to run things is, like, the rails lead you... There are rails, but they lead you to failure. And, like, the way that you succeed is you surprise me by doing something I didn't think of.
Okay.
So like physically what I'd do is like I would present like a problem that the players are sucked into and then ask them to come up with a solution to it. And if their solution is good and the dice agree with them, then they'll succeed.
I like that.
Like I don't really need like maps. In fact, I think maps are a little limiting for my style because like that requires a little bit of like forethought and preparation, and I tend to like to just like add everything.
Well, you know that I make maps for all of my stuff myself, so I don't know why you're putting me on blast in front of all of our fans.
I mean like general maps, but I don't like tactical maps. Like grid maps where I have to like, oh well, that's actually a pit. If you step in that, you'll get a -2. Like I don't really like that kind of thing.
Oh.
That's not my flavor. Unless it's a war game. It's not really my flavor.
Yeah, unless there's need and necessity for it. I'm kind of in the same boat.
Wow, I'm getting attacked from two fronts here.
Hey, listen,
This
buddy.
is a hostile work environment.
All right, buddy. Hey, I'm just a little guy here. Come on.
It's time for me to unionize.
Hey, I'm walking here.
I'm just a little guy here. Come on, it's my birthday.
I'm gonna send
International Brotherhood of guys that are just walking here.
It's just these guys, they are in fact walking there.
I'm gonna send 2 large Italian men to you to negotiate my podcasting contract.
It's the no.
And they've got baseball.
No,
bats.
definitely not.
But then they in a like a wild twist ending that nobody expected. They just take you out to have a fun game, fun time, like in the batting cage.
Playing some
I mean, they're
baseball.
just having fun. Yeah, baseball bat. They have a baseball bat, and they're gonna take you out to the.
They
batting
will play
cage. It's gonna be
Degenesis
fun.
with you.
You're all gonna have a great time.
The baseball bats just because they collect antique baseball bats.
I love Tony and Donnie. I would die for them if they want to play Degenesis with me.
Yeah, I mean they're just walking here, but
Those
they're
are the
actually
names,
really
by the
cool
way.
dudes.
It's fucking me up because I remember I I remember something like, hey Tony, hey Tony. No, what was it? Hey, Tony Tony the supportive Italian, Tony the supportive Italian. It's like, hey Sammy, I heard you going by Samantha now. Yeah, good on you, girl.
Aw.
Oh,
Oh,
What the heck? I live with large, scary Italian men
this.
now.
Yeah.
hey, hey, Tony, come here. Listen, I've been thinking about some stuff. Want to see my Fasonia?
Oh
I'm having a
no.
good day.
Tony's down with it. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't get it, but he's like totally down
Tony
with it.
just
I think
wants to
that-
grill.
Hey, yeah, Sammy, I think that's real cool and all. Check this out. I've been thinking about it too. Mine's a beaver. Look at that, cute as shit.
His name's Tony.
Nice one, Tony.
Just like me.
He runs a car repair shop with his brother Tony. He's a snow leopard.
Just like me.
I would watch I would read a slice of life comic that is just that. That sounds awesome.
Tony and Tony's car repair.
Fucking rules.
Guy, listen. If we have any followers out there that are of artistic brilliance, let us see this. Bring this dream into fruition.
I'd harass Madrona to do it, but she's like busy already.
We're reverse sponsoring right now. We're just like, hey, we'll pay you
We'll
to
pay
make furry
you to
art
make this
of
stupid
our
thing happen.
headcanons. The Your Game May Vary expanded universe has very rich lore.
I don't pay Madrona.
Oh, that's a yikes.
I'd pay Madrona. Madrona's done fantastic work.
I don't pay Madrona because usually what I do instead is like I hear video games. Or she volunteers to do something for me and doesn't take
Yeah,
no for
okay,
an
this
answer.
is just another way to say that you pay her an exposure.
Yep, I do.
Ugh.
But I actually do though. Like every time I enter a new place, I'm like, hey, look at all this art my friend has done for me. And I just unload like a gigabyte of images.
Oh, careful, you'll freeze my computer like I did when I did the sound editing.
Oh no. So, closing thoughts.
Yes, let's get up in this.
Oh, okay.
I'll start.
Oh,
No, you
well,
start.
now you put me on the spot and I'm nervous. No, I'm gonna start now to assert myself. I really like how there's a lot of body horror in the game, and it's really spooky, and like there's um, pain and suffering, and the world is clawing itself up out of this dark pit. But ironically, there's still a lot of hope in the setting, and it's like people can like work together and do cool stuff. And how gritty the world is above the base grittiness present in the lore is kind of up to you to decide. Um, and I think that's just reflective of the philosophies of the people that made it. And even with that blurb I mentioned too, it really reinforced that where like all the cultures have the right to exist and they're right and cool people just living in a world of difficult circumstances. And it's just really cool science fantasy meets science fiction, and it's just super cool. I have not played it yet, but the lore book, it was fantastic, and I'm actually going to go back and reread it. And that's all I've got.
I have been hungry for Degenesis for a very, very long time. It's so cool to go ahead and see like how far it's gotten, right? Like it only caught my attention back in like I think it was like 2015 or something like that when they started releasing the live trailers. But it immediately became like this huge like I don't want to say obsession, but it definitely became like a thing that I was very, very much into. Right. So to see everything go out and to see everything like basically turn into what it is now, right, is incredible. It's very exciting to go and see that, and I hope that I think it's Sixmorevodka is the dev team behind it. I hope they continue to do that. I hope they continue to make some really fantastic work from here on out.
I agree. I really like the like tone of the setting, like you said, Marlon, where it's like it's grim, but it's not like so grim. Like the world is grim by default, but like it's not like the grimness has infiltrated every part of it. It's like, it feels more complete than something like 40K, for instance, because it has more like depth to it than just like everything is bad. And I've been desperate to run this game for a really, really long time, and it's like I think that the system is pretty fun from what I've seen of it. I've never actually like sit down and brained it all out, but like just on a cursory reading, it all seems simple enough that I could just like throw stuff at it. But it's also one of those systems where it's like, or the settings where it's like you have to have like a really specific mood going into it. And it really just depends on like whether or not I can get into that mood in time to run it is the real problem. And that's what I think about Degenesis.
I think what overall what's everyone mood about it?
It's really cute.
I love it. A plus, A plus plus, especially the art. Fucking the book itself is beautiful. It's worth owning even if you don't ever want to
Yes,
play the game.
absolutely. And the maps are really cool too.
Yes. I think they sell a version that just has like the maps like not in the book, but like you can just like put them up on a wall and stuff. I really want that. I want those maps spread out on my wall. They're really pretty. Fucking good ass book. Type tier S tier.
Yes.
Tier list. It's on the S category.
I'm agreeing with it. Between mood and the base part of the game, like the big beefy bit of the game, isn't nearly as complex as it could be, but it has the potential to really have a lot of meat to sink into. Right. So though I'm agreeing with that one. Esther.
S tier. Absolutely.
Okay. Anybody have any personal projects?
My desk hasn't come in yet, so I'm still working on that.
Oh damn.
I'm finalizing a test sheet for Titanic, right, and getting things done for that one, and I think I'll be trying to distribute that sometime very, very shortly. Otherwise, streaming the normal stuff.
Sick. I'm still working on Aeon from before, but I'm also still working on a sector for Traveler.
Ooh.
And by a sector, I mean like a literal like sector of space. I'm writing out and statting like a whole bunch of planets.
That sounds actually really cool. Excellent, cool stuff.
Yeah, that sounds really fun.
Okay.
I think we did a podcast.
Okay.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday, guys!
Happy
Happy
birthday.
birthday!
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday!